Hi, my name is Alyssa, and today I'll be refuting the claim nuclear power is the most advantageous power source widely available. This speaker lists 4 main points that you'll be covering. 1, how clean nuclear power is. 2, how much energy it generates. 3, the costs. And 4, safety concerns. My opponent states that nuclear power is pretty clean. With no sources available to support or prove any of this, he also adds that nuclear power has no carbon emissions. Stated from Mark Diesendorf, Associate Professor and Deputy Director, Institute of Environmental Studies, the only CO2-free link in the chain is the reactor's operation. All the other steps, mining, milling, fuel fabrication, enrichment, reactor construction, and waste management, use fossil fuels and hence emit carbon dioxide. Nuclear energy is not the clean energy its backers proclaim. For more than 50 years, nuclear energy has been quietly polluting our air, land, water, and bodies, while also contributing to global warming through the CO2 emissions. An international forum on globalization report has slammed nuclear power as catastrophic for the environment. This report states that nuclear power plants routinely expel low-level radionuclides into the air in the course of daily operations. While exposure to high levels of radiation can kill within a matter of days or weeks, exposure to low levels on a prolonged basis can damage bones and tissue and result in generic damage, crippling long-term injuries, disease, and death. In my opponent's claim, he uses the word advantageous to describe nuclear power. For something to be advantageous, it would have to be beneficial or increasing the chances for success. Nuclear power is not benefiting the Earth in any way. Nuclear power is contaminating the air we breathe in and live in. How could we advance as a society if we are living on a planet that is dying from toxic pollution? According to Nuclear Information and Resource Service, nuclear power facilities release a variety of cancer-causing radionuclides, including tritium, strontium, cesium, plutonium, and dozens more. How is this increasing our chances for success on this planet? Nuclear power is not advantageous. It is detrimental. My opponent states that nuclear power is advantageous because it produces as much as 3.1 million average-sized PV solar panels. However, this amount of energy produced is not necessary, especially with the risks associated with it. Why would we use nuclear energy that produces radioactive waste when renewable energy sources such as wind and solar panels are available to us? Nuclear power is not worth it when there are other sources we can invest in. The Renewable Electricity Futures Study found that an 80% renewables future is feasible with currently available technologies, including wind turbines, solar panels, biopower, geothermal, and hydropower. The study also demonstrates that a high renewables scenario can meet electricity demand across the country every hour of every day year-round. Nuclear energy is not worth the damage that it is causing to our planet or the potential risk of a nuclear disaster it poses, such as Chernobyl. Nuclear power holds the potential for a catastrophic accident that is unique among all energy sources and particularly consequential compared to renewable energy resources. Failure of a wind turbine simply means a little less electricity is produced, not permanent evacuation of hundreds of square miles. My opponent does not deny that nuclear power has very high startup costs. According to Science for a Healthy Planet and Safer World, the first generation of nuclear power plants proved so costly to build that half of them were abandoned during construction. Nuclear power has failed to attract private sector financing, so the industry has looked to government for subsidies, including loan guarantees, tax credits, and other forms of public support. If we want to reduce the climate impact of electric power generation in the United States, there are less costly and risky ways to do it than expanding nuclear power. Going back to my opponent's claim, nuclear power is not the most advantageous power source widely available. It is detrimental to us and the environment we live in. Thank you.
All right, well, you identify the claim clearly. You label what the secondary points are going to be. That's fine. You kind of challenge the notion that something can be pretty clean. You argue that there's a lack of evidence on that particular point, which was fine. You then said that there's CO2 that's emitted from other parts of the process, not just the generation of the turbines themselves, which is a good argument to make. It would be a better argument to make if you could show that that CO2 was equivalent or substantial or significant. It seems like it's kind of a generic sort of argument there. Claims about additional kinds of pollution, particularly nucleotides, are presented to suggest some risk, but the low-level nucleotides that you mentioned, it's a bit abstract. Just as you say that there are problems with nuclear power related to, later on you mentioned catastrophes. The thing I was thinking about was, well, let's have an example of those sorts of things. You vaguely referred to Chernobyl. I was wondering here, so where's the proof that any of these things have happened? The fact that the low levels are out there, it says that they have the potential to produce these results. Well, we've had nuclear power for 60 or 70 years, so we should be able to see some of this. I would think it would be something that you could quantify. As it is, it sounds like it's a very generic risk, just talking about the potential low-level nuclear exposure, and I'm not sure how different that is from the other kinds of radioactive exposure that come from other kinds of energy sources. Like I said, that just all seems very abstract. The argument about a lack of need was kind of awkward. The best part of this argument that you had was the evidence that said that we have the ability to reach 80% renewables right now, that we have the technology to do so. I assume that maybe the main barrier here is a cost issue, and then you do go after the cost issue that the advocate was talking about, and I thought you did a pretty good job on that. All right, thank you.